tell me a little bit about yourself in the form of like, what is your artistic passion and vision? Like, what excites you in life, and how do you bring that into your art and life practice?
So I think that I am quite obsessed with what I like to identify as endeavor. So when I use this word endeavor, I mean it in terms of a specific objective. So to pursue something with a very specific objective and to engage with it all the time, that is something that always motivates me, excites me, allows me to be one with all that I am surrounded by, enhancing my awareness. And I feel personally that it always is an elevated state, not in a metaphysical way, not in a mystical way, but in a state where I feel comfortable and content with who I am. And that basically forms the core of all my theater practice also, that can I be endeavoring every second of my time, whether it is on stage or whether it is off stage. On stage, as theater actors, we all understand the concept of being in the moment and participating in the moment. But what if it was also an integral part of who we are in our everyday life, where even when we are resting, even at the point when there is no physical activity in which we are engaging, could we still be filling that unforgiving minute with endeavor? This endeavor need not be something which is like physically demanding, but it is something which allows you to engage. And I feel that the more we engage with time and space, we grow ourselves as people. I think that expands us, our perspectives and our horizons quite a lot. And having explored that in theater, having explored that through storytelling, it always leads to this question that if we do engage in that way, then do we change? Is there a constant change also occurring with who we are if we are challenging that constant by engaging every second? Wherein comes in the question immediately of then whatever nature decided for us, whatever nature gave us in the form of DNA or whatever we carried from our mother's womb, does this engagement with time and space start moving us far beyond that? Which means that wherein nature never stays in our control, it is what it is. But then can you nurture yourself to be who you are? In that sense, can nurture always trump over nature? Which means that what I have been gifted with, what I have been born with is fine. That is what I started out with. But now, if I can develop this talent of actually filling that minute of hard work, then do I go far beyond whatever nature decided for me in terms of my DNA. So that is what I wish to also explore in this salon per se. That is what also is an integral artistic pursuit of me, that as humans, can we keep expanding? Evolution in one form as Darwin defined, but this is a different form of a spiritual or a creative evolution where we keep growing within ourselves, and some point we start encompassing all that is around us.
Yeah.
And that is a point where it actually possibly ties in with the spiritual, that end of the day, by encompassing everything that is around me into who I am, I reach that state where it is peaceful.
This animating factor of having purpose and like being able, even if you don't necessarily know what you want, you are trying something to get there, a tactic, as you would say, in acting. I think that is something societally that I see that we don't really have. But as actors, as theater makers, you know, when you're on stage or you're behind a camera, because that focus is so singular of like, I need to be here doing something to have a purpose, doing something, that feeling when you get off stage, I mean, it feels so meaningful. And I think so many theater makers are addicted to it because it stands so far apart from the normal, like, monotony of life. And I also really abide by what you said too, is why does that have to live just on the stage, you know? And that ties into some more of like the mindfulness and the yoga-esque factors that I try to practice in life. And I think we have this idea that, okay, I'm going to be mindful, which means I'm going to not think, I'm going to not do, I'm just going to be. And perhaps maybe that's a state along the way of that sort of enlightenment path. But I think there's this central concept of purpose and having actual engagement, real, true, present engagement, that actually is the first step into a more self-care, mindfulness, wellness practice. And we try to go for the relaxation and the passivity without the engagement. And really, and like, if you look at any of the yogic texts, it's all about that. It's all about we're here, we're present and now. So I love, and I also try to practice in my own life, this artistic life journey of I am here now at all times, you know, because that makes you, in my opinion, a better artist as well. I'm curious about the like the moment where you said you can use nurture to activate your nature, to kind of nourish it. Do you feel that by nurturing whatever it is, that impulse to engage, to endeavor, that you can change or positively impact your nature?
Yes, I feel that because nature is not a power in our hands, whereas this nurture is something that you personally can engage with. I think it gives you that absolute power to make the changes which will work for your betterment. What you are, like, you may have been born with a particular skill set, or you may have been born in a particular way that allows you access to so many different things. Sometimes we use the word privileged, you know, that it allows you access to so many different things. You still have to strive. It is not that you were born with, with everything kosher, with everything set up forever. You still have to strive. But this strive, wherein you challenge nature itself, that is a far more gallant fight, is what I feel. Because even before you can enter into the strive which nature will allow you to equip for it, you have to first strive in order to go beyond what nature gave you. So this particular text that I have been wanting to take up for this salon.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Rashmirathi, which is by national poet Ramdhari Singh Dinkar of India. And it is a very powerful form of expression which the poet has used. And it is describing the life of this character, whose story literally, I think everyone in India, at least those born before 2000, will definitely know. Maybe not Generation Z, but everyone else definitely knows about it. It is a story of strife. It is a story about challenges, fighting. It is a story of a person facing conundrums at every crossroads of their life. But what is interesting here is the way this character, every time this character fails because of nature, it is his ability to engage and nurture himself to once again rise to an point from where he can face his adversities again. So a simple example, this person being a great warrior, having been not offered education at par with those who have been born in the warrior clan, this particular character, Karna, takes it upon himself to gather knowledge. So he takes this decision to engage in gathering knowledge, in making sure that he finds access to knowledge wherever it may be. It is not available in a very easy way. It is not available in an institution that welcomes him, but he gathers it from wherever he can. He gathers it from forests. He gathers it from different teachers. He gets it. But now that he has got it, he still has to keep on fighting, bettering himself so that he is able to be equal to confront all those people that he wants to fight in battle. He rises to that occasion. He carries with him some special weapons. He loses these weapons because of destiny, because of some cruel twist of fate. He loses these weapons. Now what? Next morning, he has to fight the biggest duel of his life. This evening, he realizes he has absolutely no special weaponry with him now. What can he do? And at this point, the poet tells us that this character Karna just makes a list of all the good things he has done in his life. He talks about the time when he has stood up to protect the weak. He talks about the time when he has always spoken the truth, irrespective of what the circumstances were. And he says, these will be my weapon tomorrow. I may not be carrying with me a specially created weapon, but I have with me all that I have done. And those will serve as my weapon. And I find this to be a very strong message or a strong life story for all of us, that end of the day, if we were to just look at who we are, we were to just look at what is it that we have tried to achieve and take strength from that and try to keep moving on, then we keep evolving. We don't need to have cheat codes and special stuff to help us, try to win at what we are trying. All that it requires is for us to keep on taking account of who we are, what is it that we have done in our life, because end of the day, that is what is our character. And that allows us to enhance our character again and again. In theater, the character is usually fixed, you don't get too many opportunities to change it. But in life, we can keep changing it.
I love this because there's two aspects of it. One is the acceptance, right? The I have what I have, my life circumstance, my privilege, my lack thereof. I have what I have. I come as you are, as Salons for Life says. And you acknowledge that, right? You're not trying to move past that. The counterpoint to that is, and I do this in training a lot, personal training, is that you don't get stronger by working on your strong points. You get stronger by working on your weak points. But that can only be possible when you accept what is, right? So to nurture yourself fully and to grow and to change as life demands us to change, you actually have to acknowledge nature first. You can't get away from that. And I think that's what we've been trying to unpack this year when, Nirupa was the brainchild behind nature and nurture. And I think there's a lot of conversations right now happening in a lot of different fields about well, what can't you change? Or what can you turn this gene on to code for this protein? Can you turn it off based on your behavior? And I think what we find in this story is that, yes, it's yes to both and no to both, but there just has to be work. There has to be that endeavoring in both. You can't just accept nature without nurture, and you can't just nurture yourself without acknowledging your nature. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, whoever we are, there always is an important segment of nature and nurture, maybe in different quantities in it. And it is left end of the day to us as individuals to decide which is it that one that we are going to stick by. We have the power, we have the capacity to engage with what is it that can nurture us and expand and go so far beyond what nature may have just decided for us. Or we may choose to never nurture or engage or endeavor and go with nature in terms of whatever it has. But that will always be a devolving process. The evolutionary process would be when we endeavor.
So you've played Karna before, right? How was this your access point in? Because a lot of actors try to find what is my in? What is my connection? How do I rise myself to play this character? Could you talk about your experience playing Karna? Because I know during the Salon, there's going to be a little bit of that performance and embodiment of his story. Yeah.
So like I was mentioning earlier, this entire poetry itself is divided into 7 parts, each dealing with a specific aspect of his life. So when I engage with the first chapter, it is quite about any one of us who are facing different kind of ordeals in life. Sometimes we give up, sometimes we try to fight with it. Sometimes we face insurmountable difficulty. What is it that goes on in my mind when to me it is like right now I can give it up, go back home and have a good night's sleep. But then there is something which says, no, stay, fight, lose, get wounded, but stay. So to defeat procrastination and to engage is actually the integral seed of his entire life. To put it in one singular sentence, this is the story of a person who never procrastinated. Because every time we procrastinate, we are shifting the focus to nature. We are sticking with it. And every time we resolve to not procrastinate and endeavor, we engage with nurture. So for this person, wherein nature had dealt a very cruel card, at each moment of his life, it was his ability to nurture himself, his time and his space to grow so much that at one point the entire earth envied him for who he was. But it was his sheer sweat, blood and toil. It was not given by anything or anyone. So I think that was the line, that a man who never procrastinates. How do we swing with that?
In the salon, would you say that we're going to engage with Karna's story to figure out how to activate ourselves in those moments of either self-doubt or self-censoring, or is that kind of what the idea is?
It definitely would be a part of what we will all engage in together. I definitely would love with the participants to explore that there is endeavor and then there is destiny. And somewhere ancient Indian philosophy believes that they both go hand in hand. One can never triumph over the other. It might be the most bountiful rain of the season. That is destiny. But if endeavor has not been there in the form of planting seeds, we are not going to have any crop.
Yes.
And planting all the seeds, but no rain, is not going to help us again. So endeavor and destiny being balanced.
Endeavor and destiny. I love this. Would you mind sharing, because you practice this in your artistic practice, which we're going to experience in the salon, but if somebody were to take home from the salon one little practice personally they could do, doesn't have to be in the theater, it can be a theatrical exercise, what do you think that would be?
I think there is a possibility that when we all talk with each other in this salon, it is quite possible that next day some of us might actually start very mindfully looking at those moments when they are shirking work or escaping from accountability and responsibility, stepping away and being able to create excuses for it. So if we can objectively look at them, at that point, we will defeat them. The whole concept becomes of objectively looking at the fact that, yes, I am being lazy. Yes, I am making excuses for it, saying that it's perfectly okay to be lazy. That's perfectly all right. Maybe I deserve to be lazy. But when we look at it objectively, we'll be able to defeat it and figure out that there's a difference between resting and being lazy. I mean, nature versus nurture, the entire debate boils down to individually us being able to take grasp of the time which is around us, which is with us, and to get out of our own ways. Once we learn to get out of our way, then we are going to be consistently nurturing ourselves with the foundation that nature has given us. But the more we are getting in our way, we are completely putting our faith on nature and not giving nurture a chance at all. So they have, I think, more than a debate, it is about time that we figure out that nature and nurture have to be balanced.
Mm. And
And
we'll
then,
access that through the body and story. Yeah.
yes,
That's
and then we take control of who we are and our own